Multitask.
That's all right.
Kareem, if you see this people here, the callers that were trying to call in for Georgia Shaw, I'm going to ignore that. So
Well, I also said that they could probably call in and wish a happy Mother's Day. So if we get them, that's fine. Great minds think alike. I put a video up for it earlier today.
And then you have 2 minutes possibly waiting for you to get people to your show.
Yep.
That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence.
Terry Reed.
Huh?
Miss Wade on it already.
I didn't hear you.
Terry Reed, Miss Wade, Deborah Miller.
Yeah, he just came in.
We're only about a minute and a half.
Okay. Hey, Rob, can we hit Mom with that camera over there?
I'm sorry, what now?
Can we hit Mom with that camera? Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to adjust it. I'm trying to watch my clock.
Okay.
Sorry.
There you go.
I was fine what it was.
Why don't you position your chair? Turn it just a little bit.
Like that.
Yep.
You can see my buttons.
It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You gotta go grocery shopping. Either emotionally and physically. I'll receive. That's what.
Terry said you look like new money. Terry Reed.
Who look like you?
He said you look like new money. Miss Day said hello.
So you said people that call in with your people?
Yeah, we'll take them. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am your hostess with the mostest. I'm trying to sound like that because I have in the studio with me my mother. Hello, Geraldine Walker. Why don't you give a shout out to everyone that's out there in our listening audience and on the radio, Kiss 107.
I'd like to say hello to everybody out there, especially the mothers. I say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. This is your day, and you enjoy this day.
And so I'm blessed to have my mom with me here in the studio. And I'm going to ask him to put her out if she keeps clanging and hitting. She got all this beautiful jewelry on and bracelets and everything. And she's got bangles hitting the table. But we'll forgive that on today. My wonderful mother, it is Mother's Day. And to all of you wonderful, wonderful women out there who make great things happen every day for your children, I just want to say thank you. And this is your day. That we spotlight, we shine the light on you. And, it was interesting because I said great minds think alike. Miss Harvard and Joyce on the last show, she did give an opportunity for people to come in and just kind of say hello and what's up to all of their people out there. And so I just want you to know, I'm not sure exactly what happened to my picture, but anyways, I want you to know that we are excited to be here. And I'm excited to have my mom with me. I don't always get to have her with me on the show, but I'm excited to have her with me here today. So, Mom, you are here, and please let people know that we took care of you, first of all, okay?
Yes, you guys did. My guys took me out to eat, and I had just an array of flowers and just all kinds of gifts. So I just really I always appreciate my fellows because they always have my back. So yeah, I love your son.
All right, and we love you too. So Renee Morris is on the phone. She's on the phone. We're gonna give her just one quick second, and we're gonna give you guys an opportunity to give a shout out to those people that you love so very much. And before we get doing that, I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the things that were going on today. We were out with Mom. Noticed that the restaurants were not as packed as we thought that they might be. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but hopefully it's because people have done some things pandemic and all, but being out in the world and being able to just celebrate you, Mom, and take you out and have dinner. I know that we've taken those steps more recently to kind of get out and do some things, but it was an amazing time already. I've enjoyed you. We've been together since early this morning. We gave you a big bouquet of flowers. You got chocolate colored strawberries, all those things. And it is such a blessing to be able to do those things. I know that your mom, when you think about days like this, because Mother's Day is a beautiful day for most people, but for those who have lost their mothers, there's also that element that we have to deal with as well. You being one of those individuals, grandma was such a big part of your life. What would you give as advice, and how? Well, let me say this before we get to that advice. How have you been able to cope with the loss of your mother on Mother's Day?
Well, I'd just like to say that you're always going to think of your mother. My mother's been gone since 2009, and I think of her daily, because she was just an intricate part of my life. There's this saying, you never miss your mother until she's gone. And when she's gone, you can't replace her. So when you have your mother, all I just say is to take care of your mother, love her, hug on her, just make her feel like she's always special every day, because when she's gone, there's no more that you can do about it.
And I've seen you go through that process. One thing that I tell you all the time, I call my mother, and I say this, and I'm excited to be able to say this. We were joking earlier today, and I laughed because so many people who don't know me, and they see our relationship, they say I'm a mama's boy. But if they really knew who I was, they would know I'm my own man.
Really?
But what I will say to people all the time is that I am my mother's boy, and I will always be her boy. And I'm riding shotgun with her because I grew up with my mom. My mom and I are very close in age. She was a young mother growing up, so we have a different relationship than most people would. How would you describe our relationship, Mom?
It's like I'm always going to be the mother. He's my pastor, I might mention. So when I'm in church, he's my pastor. And when we're outside that church door, I tell him I'm the mother. So I appreciate him because he knows when when we've had enough of each other, and that's the best thing. We know when to stop and just say, well, we'll let it go. But I have two really great sons, and Kareem and we're just like sisters and brothers most of the time. My other son says, man, you talk to each other all day long, every day, but that's just the kind of relationship we have. And I appreciate it.
Mom, I'll say this, when Gran died, and for those of you who are listening out there, I really want to encourage you all, because I know there's a lot that has been said about, mothers, and some people just don't understand the importance. Well, I'm a man of faith. And so I was always taught that the word says that you should honor your mother and your father, for it's the first commandment with promise. And what that means to me is that many young people that are out there that are disrespecting their mothers, honor means to take the words that they have, find value in them, and place them in the appropriate place in your life. But I see so many people who are, I think what I always say, people are cutting their lives short by disrespecting their mothers or their fathers. We have a responsibility to respect you. And if you have done a great job, like Mom, you've done an absolute amazing job as a mom. And I'll say this, I had my mother, the difference, and I said this morning in service, the difference between my brother, who's 16 years younger than I am. There's a 6, I don't know what happened, but she must have been feeling herself one September evening or something. But I was the only child till I was about 16 years old. And then my brother came along, And but the thing was, I grew up with you in the struggle.
Mhm.
And so if your parents out there, I know one of the things that we often try to do with our children is to make sure that they don't understand or they don't have to participate. My children are never going to have to go through the things that I went through. I don't want my children to have to suffer. I don't want my children to have to want. But it was that process that I saw you endure. When we were living, St. Paul's townhouse growing up, went to CC Culture. People don't know this about me. But growing up, then on South 25th, and then for a period of time over on Hamilton in the city. We've lived all over the city. But what I can say is that in that process, I've seen the sacrifices that you have made. And so it's made me appreciate you in a way that was very different because I was able to see you in the struggle. My younger brother, he grew up differently. I was an adult, and he grew up with 3 adults in the house who were taking care of him. But Mom, when you look at this and you look back at your relationship with your mom, for those of you know Mother Von Seal Bowen, she was kind of like a pillar in the church growing up here in the city of Saginaw. What are the things that you draw most on? What are the things that you remember most?
That she was a very loving person. She was a nurturer. I had a whole lot of brothers and sisters for that matter, because everybody called her mine, and she would always have a house full of kids. It'd just be a house full of, when she cooked for everybody. And it was just funny because one of the deacons at the church was saying, "Oh, that's my mama too," and even she's gone, but I shared my mother, and I think that helped for her to be around that much longer, a longer life. So they say love ain't love till you give it away, and so I gave that love away to the other ones so they could share the love that I had with my mom, because a lot of them didn't have that, but my mother would be a mother to many of them, and I just really loved and adored her for that. But she was just a mother who was kind-hearted, sweet-spirited, and she'll get you. She'll put you in your place. But
you know what was crazy? And when I do this, I'm gonna correct myself because I came in so excited that my mama was here with me today, and I've been spending the whole day with her, loving on her and just really appreciating her. That my main man Rob Father is in here with me. He is so patient. He hasn't said anything. Rob, I want you to give a shout out to the people because I know also whenever she comes in, you say those are some of your best times. She's you're one of your favorite guests on this particular show. Why don't you give a shout out, and I'll let you just kind of have a couple minutes. Go ahead, man.
Well, thanks very much. Shout out to everyone on the Straight Talk audience. Happy Mother's Day to all of you ladies, young women out there who are doing it, taking up stepping up rather to be a mom and do motherly or maternal things. And especially happy Mother's Day to you also, Geraldine, because we're in the same age group, so we kind of understand one. But so it's an honor to have you here. Always have an honor to have you here in the studio. So it brightens our day and whatnot. And it keeps Kareem in line to say anything.
Hey, Rob, a number of times, Rob is like, he'll give me the eye, like, I'm like, hey, this is Straight Talk, no chaser, no filter. But since we're talking about this, and I do want to, this is a Mother's Day show, and we want to do that. So those of you who are out there, Terry Reed says, Ma, it looks like it sounds like you are a duplicate of your mom. Blessing to so many. Man, my grandmother was an amazing woman. But since we're talking about this, I do want to get a couple topics that are at the top of my mind, and I want to share that what's on my mind. And since I'm here with my mother, it's kind of interesting because I had this conversation with a bunch of men, but having a woman in the house, I want to just kind of share that. And if you could help us with that, Mom, I greatly appreciate it. Those of you who know, there has been a leaked opinion by the Supreme Court. One of the justices, Alito, his opinion on abortion was leaked. And I don't know how you accidentally leak as a Supreme Court justice this type of a thing. But there has been a huge groundswell response in terms of what's going on and how does this impact us and what does this mean? In essence, what it means is the ending or the striking down of the decades-long Roe versus Wade. And so now, which was back in the 70s, I think like 73, maybe 1973, which was all about women having the right to say what was going on in terms right to their decision as it relates to having children, the ability to abort, and having the control over their bodies. Now, to me, there's a lot of other things that are here, but Mom, you growing up, and I'm a 70s baby, and you hearing these stories when you think about the abortion law that's out there, and I've said, a million times, whether you want to say it or not, I'm very clear that I am a pro-lifer. I believe in life. I'm against abortion. I believe in life. However, I do believe that people are going to do what they want. And, we had all this conversation about COVID vaccinations. You can't tell me what to do with my body. And those same people are now trying to tell women what to do with their bodies. But anyways, I digress on that part. My question then becomes to you. What are your thoughts as it relates to women losing their fundamental right to make that decision as it relates to either if they're going to carry a pregnancy or abortion? And it may also include some forms of abortion that are out there, some not abortion, but contraceptive that may also be on the hit list as well. What are your thoughts concerning this?
I have like mixed emotions, mixed feelings about that because, well, I said if a thing's not broken, why try to fix it? Not that I am for aborting your child, but I am if you've been raped or something on that, category, in that category or something like that, I would want to push you into keeping that child. But if you're just going out, you're having a baby and you think you don't want this baby and then you want to go and abort it, I'm against that. But I don't know, that's a tough one. I feel sorry for the women out there who are in trouble, being pregnant and want to abort their babies and they can't. But just to abort a baby, I'm not for that.
Well, here's a real conversation, and I thank you for that, Mom. A real conversation I think that we should talk about that's really important to think about is when we talk about babies that are being aborted, Black babies are being aborted at a rate far alarmingly higher than those of our Hispanic and white cultures. And one of those reasons is I would say is largely economics. The ability, hey, I can't afford to take a child. And my thought would be like, if you can't take care of a baby, then stop laying down doing what it takes to have a baby.
Yeah.
So the moment that you lay down and you do what it takes to have a baby, you're saying and signifying by your actions that you are in a position to take care of that child. But that's not often the situation.
Right.
But that's one thing. There's a socioeconomic thing right here. And so there's economics and then there's social economics. And a lot of that has to do with education, the idea or the concept. We all know what abortion is. We know those things. But the impact, and when I talk about socially, understanding the impact that fatherlessness has on a community is very important. When we look at what we're talking about with these abortions, most of these individuals in our community that are being aborted, they're not, and this is across the board, they're not the highly educated individuals who understand, who have planned, who understand savings accounts and put those things together, who are making, putting together a college fund. That's not where we are. But it's a cycle of that we're seeing taking place. And organizations such as Planned Parenthood, and those other, that's why they've made a living and millions of dollars, if not billions, on Black young women, usually single moms, who have found themselves in a very precarious situation that they don't know what to do or where to turn. And we talk about these Black babies that are being aborted. We talk about these fetuses that they're using for scientific study. A lot of these are Black fetuses that are coming from these abortion clinics. And so we've got to be aware of those types of things that are very important as well. Yes, ma'am.
Another thing.
Did y'all hear that? I said, yes, ma'am.
Another thing is these young girls are not even always young, but most cases they are young girls or young ladies that are going out having these babies and then they want to abort them. A lot of times they have problems, in life from the abortion, for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's a mental thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then sometimes it's a physical thing within their bodies that it just messed them up for life.
And so that when they're ready to have children, so oftentimes there's complications with them being able to have children. And I think that that's very important. So as we're talking about this abortion, this is important to me, but I'll tell you why this is another reason why this topic is so important, because I think that based upon the language and how this thing is termed out, they're basically saying that any issue of precedence that has existed is no longer of value. But then it also brings up the situation of other rights, because it basically is saying that anything that is not a right that is given by the Constitution should not be added by the court as an additional right. So the right to have an abortion is not something that was in, but there's a whole bunch of things if we think about it. How about the right for Black folks to vote? It was something that was not in the original Constitution. It is now as an amendment. But there are so many things that exist that fall on that line to where if they can write this out, they can write other things out. Now,
you know, even with the Black voting, they're trying to do away with a lot of it. They're making it so difficult for Black people to vote, which is so terribly sad. We're in a struggle. We're in a struggle with the voting. We're in a struggle with Republicans and Democrats. We're in a big struggle, and so we have to remember. Let's just tell everybody: get out and vote. Make your vote count. You know.
All right, it is Mother's Day, and I've had Miss Morris holding on the line. Renee Morris, are you there, ma'am? Okay, I appreciate your patience. You know, I got this beautiful woman across the table from me, and I'm a sucker for a pretty face. So I want to just a great evening tonight. How are you doing, Miss Morris? Well, happy Mother's Day to you, Miss Morris. I understand that we've had this conversation. But when you talk about not being a traditional mom, and I say this because I would fall into that same category for Father's Day. I get so many calls, cards, gifts coming in. I biologically have not raised any children, but I have a number of kids that refer to me as dad because I raised them and I put the time in and the work and the effort and the resources. That's what dads and moms do. So on this Mother's Day, so as a mom who is not a biological mom, as you said, how do you celebrate this day? And do you get calls for folks that are saying, thank you for your contribution to the life that I lived? And I think, Renee, I think this is very important. I want you to share me. What is one of the most heartfelt memories that you remember of your mom?
Mm-hmm.
And that's powerful. Now I will say this, and this is going to cause us to kind of change really quick. We're going to take a quick break. But Ms. Morris, I want you to talk because Juneteenth is coming around the corner. If anybody knows you, they know that you have been talking about it all over the city of Saginaw. If you could please hold on. I want to shift just for a quick second so that we can have some conversation about what that's looking like and how we're going to move forward. We're going to take a quick commercial break to pay some bills, and we'll be back with more Straight Talk.
Listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
So what's the most exciting part of playing Millions Cash?
I can sense something's getting ready to get deep. I said we're going to get this breaks out the way. That way there's no interruption.
You can't hear them any louder, the ones that are calling in.
I'm sorry?
The callers that are calling in, you can't bring them in any louder.
No, I'm going to turn it up there, but I'm going to do some feedback. But
I had to make sure I turned my volume thing was up, so I had to turn mine down so that you would get the feedback.
But she can't hear the conversation because I don't share headphones on. And
Right.
Okay.
I can bring headphones in for you though, but I have to run a string. But
I'm good.
I don't have much time. I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it.
We'll be done before you know it. This time goes by so fast. It's crazy.
We got a minute and a half.
All right.
At no cost to you. Yes, that's right. At no cost to you. Discover more. Send an email to glvec@sisd.
You should be able to hear from here.
Great Lakes Bay Early College.
But he's not talking to the conversation on the phone here. Just a little bit.
This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. you are going to get a 2-hour session at the Frankenmuth Aerial Park
45
for
seconds.
$21. It's usually $42, but you are getting it half off. This includes a 2-hour weekday or weekend session. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a pro. There is a course level that's going to fit you. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal. RocketGrabPlus.com. Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus.
Why are you looking like that?
And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
Hey, this is Kareem, and you're back with more Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I have on the phone with me the Miss Renee Morris. Renee, you there? Hey, Renee, we've been talking. We talked about Mother's Day a little bit, and it is Mother's Day, and it's going to be a day to celebrate moms. My wonderful mother is sitting across from me. I don't know if you're watching on social media, but she is here in the studio with us as well. But I want to ask you a question, Renee. Juneteenth is coming up real soon. And I want to give a shout out to Larry Rodarte and La Union Civica on putting together what I think is one of the most amazing parades that I've seen in the city of Saginaw. It reminded me of like our Memorial Day parade and our Thanksgiving Day parade. Like when I was a little kid, there were, I think someone said about 20,000 people that lined the streets and showed up. Now, they weren't all from the city of Saginaw, but what they did is they partnered with the city of Detroit, Southwest Detroit, where there's a large Hispanic population. They shared their talent, their resources, they pulled together, and they made it happen. They staggered the dates in which they were having these celebrations. So Southwest Detroit had their big Cinco de Mayo parade on the 1st of May. And then we saw here in the city of Saginaw, which has the biggest one in the state of Michigan, had theirs on this past Saturday, the 7th. And I was out with our sister station, WCW, and Larry Rodarte. You got to roll the R real well, and had an amazing time. But the entire time I was there, I was talking with NAAC President Terry Pruitt and other individuals, other leaders that were coming through. And I was inspired to think about this year being the first year as a nation, as a city, as a community, that we would be celebrating Juneteenth. Okay, I know that you are at the helm of something great. Why don't you share with us what it is that your plans are leading you to for this particular celebration? Say that theme one more time, please. Okay, and so what are the plans? Because I know that I've been hearing keys and pieces of things. We've sat down, we've been working together on trying to put some of this stuff together. I'm here on the radio, and I want to make sure that our community shows up. Cinco de Mayo, I mean, I think it's amazing of what the Hispanic community is, our brown brothers have been able to do. But what they showed us is that there's power in unity in numbers. And oftentimes in our community, we can't do two things together if our lives depended on it, and they often do. So what are we looking to do for not for Cinco de Mayo, but for June the 17th, for Juneteenth, actually that weekend? All right, so I want to key in on this the pageant for just a quick second. Let's take this a little bit because this is a lot to digest. So the Miss Juneteenth pageant will take place over the course of on Friday. Am I correct? Friday? Oh, okay, so you have been working with the young ladies, I'm assuming? And so what does Miss Juneteenth represent? Okay, now what I love about what you're doing, because I know that you were talking, and we'll share this as well, about what was going to take place on that Sunday, as it related to reading the proclamation that was read by General Gordon when he went in to Galveston, Texas, to let the slaves know, yo, y'all free. And so you're planning to also read. We're going to have this pageant that represents, every great parade, I guess, has a queen. And so on Sunday, you're going to be doing some things that are historically accurate as it relates to what took place during this first celebration. Am I correct? Okay, because this was a spiritual moment. I agree. Now, when you were given this description, I saw the general reading in, if there's an enactment, the general riding in on a horse, the reading. And I know that we've talked, and there are going to be horses in the parade. The sheriffs have said they're going to bring out and ride the horses in the parade and some other things. But I imagine in my head, as they read the proclamation, if you've ever seen The Wiz, those of you who are out there listening to us on the radio, if you've ever seen the movie The Wiz with Diana Ross, not The Wizard of Oz, but The Wiz, the black version with Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell, and all of those guys in there. At the end of the show, when they finally kill the Wicked Witch of the West, they break out and the steam comes down, and this is what I'm seeing in my head. They're singing, "Can't you feel a brand new day?" This is what I'm imagining in my mind that we're seeing as the slaves were free, and they found out that they were freed nearly 2 years prior. But the understanding that we no longer are cattle, we're chattel, we're no longer can be sold on the post. That must have been a remarkable feeling, and to have that being having it being portrayed in person is exciting to even begin to think about. So how can people from the community get involved with what it is that you're doing? Okay, and what I want you all, those of you who are out there, get to my page. I'm going to be posting some stuff. Now, if you were not involved with what's taking place with this Juneteenth weekend, I'm going to tell you, if you don't do anything on Friday with the pageant, I'm absolutely fine. But for this parade, come on, y'all know how we do. We don't put our what Mama said, you don't air out your dirty laundry. Mm-hmm. All right, so we become unified. What she was saying is, like, I don't care what you're going on, what's the strife is, if there's any issue, when it's time to perform, you come together. Hey man, I'm gonna get my Joe Jackson on real quick and say, y'all need to come out here, put them short black pants, them glitter socks, and them black shoes, and it's time to perform because it's showtime. So we need to get out there. If you are a business owner, I know that you're looking for bands. I saw, if there's some dance groups out there that we can do this thing tastefully. If you got some hot rod cars and some of those really cool things, this is your opportunity to celebrate. This is the freedom. This is where Black folks as a whole, up until this point, only some people were considered free. And before that, you had to have money and wealth in order to be able to do the things that freedom would allow us. So this is our opportunity. This is not the 4th of July. Independence Day did not set you free in 1776. Independence Day set America separated from Great Britain as Big Mama. But this here is when Big Mama, Big Papa, your great granddaddies and grandpappies, they all became free on this moment. And so this is a time of celebration, a time of jubilation, and we've got to begin to teach our history to one another. Miss Morris, as you're sharing the story of Juneteenth, are you surprised by how many of our Blacks in our community are not even aware of what Juneteenth is? So we want you all to get involved. Miss Morris, if you could drop that line one more time. That number, yes. And what are the key areas are you finding yourself needing assistance in? I would imagine that we want parade entries. Let's do this sooner. What happens? And hold on one second, Ms. Morris. I gotta make sure that I check the thermostat and the temperature in the village because it's real cold out there sometimes. But I want to make sure that we understand this. So many times, we as a people, we as a community, as a race of folk, we always want to wait to the last minute to do every single thing. This is not one of those moments that we need to wait. And how we show up, and I want to say this, and I want to be very clear about this, how we show up and the manner in which we show up and how we execute these types of things will often be key in terms of how we are respected in our community. If we come out there and we got a drizzle of people and we got 100 people showing up for this type of event that celebrates your richness of heritage, and as Ms. Moore said, it encompasses all of our history, then we're telling people that we're not really in a position to be taken seriously. What I loved about my La Razas, my brown skinned people, Hispanic brothers and sisters, Latinos, actually it's Hispanics, the Chicano, the Mexicans, their celebration of Cinco de Mayo on Saturday was that they supported one another. They came out in groves. Now, this is the thing, Black and brown communities, we all understand we in this thing together. And so there were a lot of African Americans that were a part of this, and I love seeing the unity of the races. There were white folks, everybody. This is a celebration for everybody. However, this is a celebration that should be led by our leaders in the community. So I'm glad to know that Terry Pruitt is involved, women of color, Evelyn McGovern. If you consider yourself a leader, if you consider yourself a organization, you need to reach out right now, either through Straight Talk or you come get a hold of Miss Morris, and she's put a number out there. And if you don't do anything else, let's show up for that celebration, for that parade, and for the reenactment of what took place when that proclamation was read. That is historical. Bring your children. Let them know their history. Show them what it's all about. And when we speak to a man's interest, we entertain their mind. And when we have their attention, let's pour something positive into it. All right. Any final thoughts that you would like to share, Ms. Morris, as we are rounding the end of this discussion on Juneteenth? So you think we locked and loaded? Once again, give me that number so we can drop it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat as well as you give it. 4259, and that is Miss Morris. And so I want you guys, let's do this, Saginaw. Come on, let's put Saginaw on a map in a positive way. people want to call us, violent and dangerous and put us in the top cities of places that are not to live. They want to talk about how we're impoverished and we're in poverty, but let's do something together, because together we can change the narrative. When you come out in groves and we work together and we link arms and the entirety of our community come out, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, I don't care if you're mixed, black, whatever you are. If you're a part of the Saginaw community and you are glad that the slaves were freed, you are a party to this. We're going to invite you to the cookout that day, okay? It's time out for inviting folks to the cookout that don't even have a black card. But we need to get together, make sure that we do what's necessary to celebrate and to remember the legacy of Juneteenth. And Ms. Morris, I want to thank you once again. And once again, happy Mother's Day. Not a biological mom, but a mother in spirit and in each endeavor that you have poured into these young minds. So thank you so very much. All right, so we are going to continue this conversation. For those of you who are out there, we were talking about that abortion. So I told you guys at the beginning of maybe at the beginning of the year that the most important thing on the ballot for me was not about ARPA. I'm glad we got ARPA funds. It was about voting and us passing one of those voting rights acts. And what's funny is I'm here with my mom, but Mom, this is the kind of conversation we have when we get together, ain't it? And so we don't always agree about everything, but these are the conversations that need to be had at the kitchen table or at the dining table. We've gotten away from having those conversations at the table. And whenever we talk about the dinner table or the kitchen table, it's interesting and it's important to understand that so much took place at the table. Mom, growing up, and I can imagine over there in Carlton on Sherman Street, growing up, you were one of 10 children, correct?
Absolutely.
So you got 10 children around the table. Father who was working with General Motors came to the north from Marion, Louisiana. And while I'm talking about this history, the matriarch of our family, who is she 96 years young this year? Yes, 96 years young. My dear Aunt Ann Murkison, I want to say happy Mother's Day to you as well. If it's not 96, it's 97. I think this November may be 97. But she is the matriarch of this family. We love her. We love the history that she has. And to her and to my cousins and everybody out there, aunts, uncle, and all of those, we say happy Mother's Day. But Mom, one of 10 children. So 10 of y'all sitting around the table, or however many of you all were at the same time, because some of you are quite mature. And
Probably
then you have
probably eight.
Okay, 8 at a time. What were the types of things that you talked about around the table? And because there's some young mothers out there or young fathers out there that have lost and have not had the experience of the family table. What types of things were you discussing? And when we say the family table, we're talking about sitting down and having dinner together.
Yes. The most important thing that came out of our family was my father was a preacher, and my mother was a real serious missionary, a prayer warrior.
Y'all know what they say about preachers' kids, right? Okay.
We're good kids.
Go ahead, Mom.
But anyway, so we were taught right off the bat, we were taught how to pray. We were taught to thank God for everything that he's blessed us with. When we got ready to sit and eat, we said our blessings. And my mother and dad, well, my dad wasn't much of a talker. He was the one with the whip. If you didn't get it right with my mom, then she'd take and turn us over to him. And you didn't want that to happen. But she was, like I said, she was the nurturer. And so a lot of the things they say train up a child in the way he should go, and when they're old, they're not won't depart from it. So there's a lot of things that I remember that my mother told me, and I just really am truly blessed that, I had her to direct me in the right direction. So now I'm older, so I can instill you guys with that. She told us to love people, treat people right, even sometimes when they didn't treat us right. She was real good. I tell you, she's better than I think I ever could be. But she'd want us to do the right thing all the time. And that, sometimes I would say, Mom, you are not real, because she was just that kind of person. Well,
I'm going to say this, and I hope you guys are really paying attention to some of this conversation and for somebody's like, that's some Huxtable stuff. That's something that ain't real.
Serious stuff.
But what I want to say is this. I grew up as a single parent kid initially until my mom met my stepdad. Odell Walker, many of y'all may know him as Mellow Fellow. He used to be a DJ back in the day, spinning on the ones and the twos. But anyway, so I grew up in a single parent home. Had strong uncles and grandparents and other surrogate fathers that were there. And as we were going through life, one of the things that you did, and I want to say this, and this is how the creativity of a mother, and this is something that stuck with me for my whole life as you were working. And I remember being a little kid and initially going to school when I first started school was at CC Culture over on the south side of Saginaw, and running around the neighborhood at times. I remember one time I got lost and couldn't figure out how to get home. But anyways, as we were doing those types of things, and then continuing on through the different BV school districts, Saginaw schools, and then eventually graduating from Carleton, as we were looking at a lot of those situations, you did something as a mother that changed what I believe the trajectory of my life. And I don't think I've ever shared this with you. And if you're a mother out there and you're looking for ways to really impact your kids, this is a simple, small way that you can do that. And it changed my worldview. And this is what you did. And you remind me, if you remember doing this, Mom, every Friday or Saturday, every weekend, you would make a habit, because you were one of those moms who cooked Monday through Friday. But on the weekend, every weekend, you would take me to eat at a different type of restaurant. So if it was a Chinese restaurant, we would go and eat at a Chinese restaurant. If it was going to an Italian restaurant, if it was an indie, and so we had all of these different experiences that centered around food, but it opened me up culturally to having different experiences. Now, we weren't flying all over the country because we didn't have flying all over the country kind of money. But once again, the ingenuity of a real mom. And Mom, those of you out there, I want to talk to my single parent moms out there right now, really, because I can recognize and I can relate to that struggle, because that's where I came out of. Oftentimes, and I'm not going to sit here and I don't want to dog out my brothers, but brothers, we got to stand up a little bit better than what we've been doing. Oftentimes we get in here and we're in love, and we tell these young women that we're in love with them, and they're all we need and all we want. And the moment that a child comes, that love fades away. There's a couple of things, and I'm not going to get here and preach, and I'm not going down that road. But I do want to say that we've got to do better, because even if you're not in love with that mother, that is your DNA. That is your genetic material. That is your carbon print that you're leaving in the earth. And when you decide that because you're mad at her, or because you didn't want the child, or you felt trapped, the fact of the matter is that's your DNA. And you have a responsibility to take care of everything that comes out of you, my man. What are you going to say, Mom?
I just like to say to the single ladies, the married ladies have help, and sometimes they don't really have the help, but the single ladies, my heart goes out to you, because I know you can have the struggles. But the bottom line is you fall down, but you can get back up. There is no thing. You got to grind and work it. Kareem didn't always have everything that he wanted, but as I was blessed enough to work and grind, I made sure that he could wear some designer things.
Oh yeah, Mama took care of your boy.
He just wasn't one of those kind of guys where you got to buy him all the best fabric. But I tell you, I looked out for the kids,
Okay. This is funny, Mom, and I apologize, but this is what's so funny. So, and this is what parents do. So when you were able to do better, you wanted to provide more for your son. And so what Mom did is, all of you, if y'all remember the store Bacrock in Bacrock, whatever you want to call it, I think it's Bacrock, but anyways, out in the mall with all of them expensive clothes, Mom wanting to make up for the lost time and for the things that I didn't have and the sacrifices that we had to make together, because we had to make something together. I remember one time, Mom, we were driving down South Washington heading home, and there was a shootout right around where the motorcycle club was, and you were like, son, get down. I'm sitting there like thinking, like, if I'm getting down, you driving. But that's the sacrifice that real moms make. They gonna make sure that My kids are taken care of, even if it means that I perish or I'm in peril. But I remember just those times of growing up, and when you were able to do better. I remember us going, and I'm like, $180 for a sweater. I mean, you wanted to make sure that I experienced the best of life, and you gave me so much. So life did change in that moment. But what I remember most in that moment is that, listen, boy, I'm going to buy you these clothes, but it ain't about what you put on your body.
That's right.
It's what you put in your head that makes the biggest difference.
That's right.
And so if I was acting up and I was acting crazy, just as much as you were excited to give, you would take those things away. And I remember it's the punishments that I think that made me the best. I remember I was bringing grades home in my English, and I was a smart kid. But in third grade, in Mrs. Novak's class, who was a teacher, she told you that I wasn't doing well with my non-verb agreement. I wasn't writing well. And I was so mad at you and that woman. Y'all were the worst women on the planet that year. But she says, I want to keep him after school. Now, y'all know what we do now today. She just racist. She don't like my kid. Mama's, pipe down. Come on.
That's right.
You've got to have a big picture vision for your children.
You know, if you see somebody that's trying to help your child, you get with them. Kareem, he did his thing. He was very smart in school, but he had his days. But if I found a teacher that had his best interest at heart, I wasn't going to fight with her. I was going to join forces.
And that's just what she did. And those forces were joined against me. And so she wanted to keep me after school. Now I was an athlete. This time, third grade, we're not really doing much until summer. But I remember having to stay after school every single day, Monday through Friday. And guess what that teacher had me do? So when I got done with school, I had to bring all my stuff, come to her, and we talked about English. We talked about noun verb agreement. We talked about parts of speech. We actually did writing. Kids don't have to write anymore, but we did writing samples. She hated the way I made my letters, so she would make sure that my big letters or my capital letters went all the way to the second letter, to the second line. All of my lowercase letters were at that dotted line. If you all know that ink, that writing paper. I mean, this is what was going on. But I'm saying this because we are so quick to jump and to say that someone's out to get our kid, and we lose the benefit of the village when no one else can give constructive criticism, can correct your child. And so I want to say to my single parent moms, I know you got it rough out there. I know that it's hard. I feel like I'm doing a Tupac, but Tupac cares. If don't nobody else care, keep your head up. And that's the real story of the game. And so I want to encourage you guys as you continue to do what's necessary. If Greg, Peter, Tyrone, and people say, why you be dogging out Tyrone? Because Erykah Badu get it. I guess he just gets it. But if he is not willing to stand up and be the man in the moment, women, I want to say, because it is Mother's Day and Father's Day, we'll have your moment in June. But I want to just encourage those mothers out there you can't be the mother and the father. Now, please stop saying that. I'm the mother and the dad. You can never be that child's father.
Never works.
It will never work. You'll overcompensate. You'll create a system of a benefit that child will not appreciate because you feel that you have to make up for something that is shortfalling. But what I want to say to you as a single mom, if you're out there, I want you to keep your head up. I want you to reach out. If you got young men out there and young women that are now becoming problematic because they're at that age. And as a mom, I want to say something to you, Mom. I wrote a book on reclaiming a lost generation. And it was a story of a young man who grew up single. It was from my own perspective, a single parent home. And one of the things that I recognize is that God created our men to dominate. And so if he's a young man, by the time he gets 15 to 16 years old, you've done everything that you can. You've made every sacrifice you possibly could. And in that particular moment of time, and you will begin to see them at some stage, they're going to buck up against you. You call it disrespect, but what I really truly believe is that is his natural God-given nature to dominate. But when the father is not in the home, that young man has to create in his own mind and figure out in his own way what it means to be a dominant man, what it means to subdue, what it means to dominate and take dominion in the land.
Mhm.
And oftentimes you'll find that young man bucking against you in the absence of that father, because the father sets the steady pace and he shows the young man, yes, I want you to be a strong man, but I need you to understand respect and authority. And so when our fathers are not in the home, our mothers are left to not only provide, nurture, and care for, which is what women were, created to do naturally. We know that because they were created with a womb, something that can provide and to take care of a child. And so women are often, single moms, you're often forced to not only have to care for your children, but then get up and go out there in the world and fight for your children, which is what the father is supposed to do.
Right.
You're rolling up your sleeves, fighting battles that you should not have to fight. But I want to encourage you, don't give up the fight. Keep up the faith. This is Mother's Day. I celebrate you today.
Yeah.
I know Joyce was talking about power couples, but we need to talk about some single moms, single dad. Let's talk to some single folk out there who really need to get it online and get it all together. We've got Ernest Wiggins, who is on the line. And Ernest, I want you to give, where are you at, Ernest? Can you hear me? Marvin Wiggins. Marvelous Marvin. Oh, I know what you call it, my man. How you doing, Marv?
Great.
Blessed and highly favored. Hey, what is it that you called into the show today? I know that there is a woman in the studio that you're familiar with. So I'm going to just give you a couple seconds and let you say what it is that you called to say.
Thank you so much. Yes, he is.
Yes, sir. I want to say this, Marvelous Marv. I certainly thank God for you. And I know that you were with my mom and dad and Mellow Fellow and Sparkle when they were doing the thing with the radio, and Dante Tucson and all of the other Wiggins, Sweet Meat. Yeah, all of those individuals that were out there. And I remember growing up and being out at OIC when they would have the radiothons and different things of that nature. I remember being at places like y'all gonna laugh, but yeah, going to like the Dewdrop Inn and the Gold Slipper Lounge and Chet's Lounge and the Sportsman. And I, growing up as a kid and seeing people like you, Marv, out there doing your thing, spinning records, getting the crowd hyped. And it has kind of, those things have attributed to my affinity and desire to do what I'm doing today. So thank you so much for your input and your impact, not knowing that you were even making one.
Good hearing from you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so very much. God bless you, my brother. All right. Hey, Miss Zimmerman, you're on the line. So, Ms. Zimmerman, are you a single mom? Hey, I'm going to say this to you, Ms. Zimmerman. I want to give you a major shout out. This is Mother's Day, and it is quite the feat. Being a parent is not easy. It is one of the greatest challenges of life, but it also provides the greatest reward. And what I want to say to you is you got it right. You got it right. Understanding that you could never be a father, but making sure that your child has, is it a boy or a girl? Okay, that he has strong role models. And you got to check these mothers. You can't just put everybody around your child, but folks that you can trust, that understand your vision. And let me tell you why that's so important. I want to share, Ms. Zimmerman, why that's so important. It is so important because when you have other adults that you trust in that child's life, and I talked about that time when they start smelling themselves, is what we say. and they get to that stage of life, you can now loosen the reins because you have already allowed some individuals who you know are solid, who understand your vision for parenting, that when something happens, if that child does not feel comfortable coming to you, they have other males and other men and people that are a part of their village that they'll most likely go to and ask those serious questions. So when you do this and you understand the importance of surrogacy, you understand that you are building in a fail-safe for you when times get rough. So I want to celebrate you on that today. I hope you feel great and have been celebrated on this Mother's Day. All right, so you called in. Did you have a question or a statement that you wanted to share, Miss Wiggins? Zimmerman.
That's nice.
Oh, well, happy Mother's Day to you as well, Miss Zimmerman. And you tune in because we're going to talk a little bit more. I know that is a hot topic for folks. Miss Zimmerman said, look, I know what the challenges were. I'm hitting that age of life. I need to get this done. And more women, as they say, sisters are doing it for themselves. But I greatly appreciate that you have not excluded the brothers from the vision and the village. So congratulations and happy Mother's Day and many more to you. All right, take care. All right, for those of you out there, an hour goes by so fast. Mom, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Give me a word of nugget nugget of wisdom as we leave, real quick.
Oh, I just say to everybody out there, just treat people right. That's the main thing. Treat people the way that you would want them to treat you, and just bless God for everything that happens in your life, because He's a good God and He does good things. And when things that are done to you that are evil, or that is not of God. So we just thank you guys.
All right, so we want to thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Rob Father for making all of this possible. Happy Mother's Day. Celebrate your mother. Hey, as the one man you say, love your mother, respect your father, and teach your sister how to be a lady. God bless you all. Grace and peace.
Listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The news and